Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Arrogant. So there's been a few changes on the previous server for Module 24. Some of the gear got updated, along with a new companion coming with most likely the pack to go with Module 24. Additionally, just to make it a bit more friendly for newer players and making it not so different on the amount of stats that companions give when you level them up, basically what they're doing is you can see this Mythic bonus from the Golden Cat, 750 item level, gives me 7.5%. And if we look at a legendary companion, like our Alpha Compy, we can now see it's giving 5.5%, whereas in the current build of the game, my Alpha Compy would only give me 5%. And that goes down with the lower ranks as well, which basically means that the lower quality companions will give a bit more stats than they will normally, and that should help newer players out a little bit. You can see that on this scuffed post here, how the quality of the companion is now increasing in the bonus item level and then the stats. So going from a single stat on common goes from 0.5% to 0.75%, which is pretty big. And then like on epic, so that's purple, you're going from 3% to 3.75%. And then as we've seen, legendary is 5% to 5.5%. So the biggest bump up, as we can see right here, is with the uncommon ones and with the rare ones at getting a full 1% increase from 1.5 to 2.5. And then that translates to when you have a dual stat companion or a triple stat companion, and along with that the item level is going up that little bit as well. So pretty nice to see that just helping out newer players a bit. Now those of you struggling with like the movement speed bonus enchantment where it was falling off all the time, basically whenever you take revive sickness you would lose that bonus, whenever you would block or tab on tanks you'd lose it, and on the barbarian spinning strike daily you'd also lose it. Now they should make these changes also for the guild boon that has the movement speed as well, as I believe that has the same issue, and they are requesting to let them know if there's any other cases of the drop off of the movement speed bonus enchantment. Now as for the gear itself from module 24, no change to the weapons. However, with the Dark Maidens gear, we shall see a pretty significant increase to the armor piece, going from 3% to 5%, and that's doubled in Underdark, giving you 10% damage boost. That's a very nice, reliable boost, unlike any other chest piece that you're going to need to deal damage to gain the stacks of. And you can see that again just here in game. 5% and then doubled to 10% in Underdark. Now the boots as well are getting a buff, going from 3000 power up to 4000 power, so also pretty good. That's 1.5% increase. That'll at least make it a bit more competitive with the boots you'd see from seals giving like 10,000 freaking rating points. Still, these boots will generally only be best when running in like Temple of the Spider, but otherwise they are like the best boots for 5% outgoing damage. You don't want to be using ones from the Dragon Hunter, like these ones reducing your critical avoidance when they also only give 5%, and the rusted boots also only 5%, but with also a negative. Additionally, they're changing Illustre's Benevolence ring from 10% movement speed, which would have been nice, but only when you're against one enemy, over to 10% recharge speed. I guess that can be useful. It doesn't have the best stats, but 10% recharge speed would probably do great on a healer, so having those stats, okay, Forte not the best for a healer, but it is the dump stat when you have everything else. And finally, they're changing that belt item, the Perfect Spider Totem, that we're going to have to upgrade from green to mythic, much like our Forger's box. It will now give 2.5% combat advantage instead of just 2%, as we could see over here. The rest of the effects stay the same, but what's very nice to see is if you have your build set up to have like 88% crit chance, accuracy, and power, you could essentially make use of any of these benefits. So let's say I would randomly get the first benefit with crit chance giving 2%, then that would cap my crit chance. Overall, Spider Totem I think will only be good when fighting Drow to gain this 1% damage bonus, whereas the Forger's box is still giving 3% power, but then one of the following effects, which you might end up with not being too great, like action points. So that's all of the gear changes just there. And finally, let's go to the details of the new companion. We see that here in the collections, and it will most likely be coming with the Mod 24 pack, where we generally get a companion that can boost our campaign progress, which this will indeed do with its dark dealings. Increase the amount of campaign currency in North Dark reaches by 10%. Additionally, it's given combat advantage and accuracy, which is much like the book imp. Pretty useful if you especially want to be capping that accuracy stat. But most interestingly, it has the ability that xuna had of bloodbath, teleporting to random enemies and stabbing them. And then it has its vicious stab, and it also has sly flourish, which is not what xuna had. Xuna had, as we can see her just here, the ability to poison enemies she hit with her bloodbath. But the problem is xuna got nerfed to the ground. In all likelihood, this new companion will be just as bad as xuna. I don't really see them buffing bloodbath, as that would probably buff xuna as well, since they probably would just copy and paste the powers. And xuna right now, we can like jump into a pack of enemies and just see how well she does against these. These are pretty squishy, and she does go teleporting around them, but look, barely scratching their HP bars, and we can just jump in there with our Path of Blades from stealth, and they just get melted. I could use Blade Flurry from stealth and they'd be dead in one shot, just as you can see with this pack of enemies here. Bam, they're nearly dead. These guys are an inch of their life left. So we shall see what happens. Fingers crossed, it is going to be very competitive and does deal a lot of damage, but I'm not going to hold out any hopes. On top of that, Mount Insignia bonuses are getting a significant bump up with Module 24. Not all of them, but a good few. We can start out with our Knight's Rebuke, as it's gone from healing you for 2% of your max HP when you receive combat advantage damage to now 5% of your maximum hit points. Survivor's Blessing has also gone from 2% up to 5%. Killing an enemy with Slayer's Bloodlust, instead of giving 500 crit strike for 5 seconds, will actually give you 1000 crit strike for 15 seconds. And a maximum of 5 stacks. That means this Insignia bonus can potentially give you 5,000 rating points. Could be useful, but generally in AoE fights, you kind of want to have your crit strike capped at the beginning so that your crit chance is nice and high. So I don't see it as being too useful. Then we have Oppressor's Reprieve. The heal has gone from 3% up to a whopping 8%. That is great. Barbarian's Revelry has also gone from 2% up to 4%. Again, doubled. Protector's Camaraderie, good for a striker companion, has gone from 200 crit severity up to 300 crit severity. Meaning at maximum 5 stacks, you can gain 1,500 instead of just 1,000. Again, not the most reliable, but can be useful in a trial scenario where your companion will attack a lot. A very neat survivability one has been increased. Alchemist Invigoration. When you drink a healing potion, you're granted 2,500 defense for 18 seconds. This used to be only for 10 seconds. This means you can drink a potion every 18 seconds. You could have this at 100% uptime. Not bad, especially for a tank going budget with health potions instead of stones of health. And then Berserker's Rage was adjusted a little bit. Rather than having your action points at over 90% or below 10%, it's gone to over 80% and below 20% to gain the bonus of 2,500 crit strike and deflection. Again, I don't see it as anything good unless you're a class which won't use your daily powers all too often. Champion's Return has been increased. Instead of healing you for just 5%, it's now a full 10%. Again, doubled. And that is all of the heal insignia bonuses buffed up. Very nice to see. Overall, healing insignia bonuses for tanks has gone up massively, at least doubling the amount of heal they can output, so definitely good to have a few of those nowadays. And for the rest of them, they don't look too great. There's a few niche ones, like a class not using many daily powers, having your companion attacking to gain your crit severity, and also killing enemies to gain up to 5,000 crit strike. Personally, I'll still be sticking with 2 Assassin's Covenant, and I do want to switch to an Artificer's Persuasion, try make the most of cooldown cooldown reduction after the Band of Air is gone, and then 2 Warlord Inspiration for my companions damage. So again, I'd like to give a massive thank you to all of these channel members for the continued support. And if I presented this well, consider leaving the video a like, and if you're new around here, consider subscribing. We'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.